Welcome to the Care Chronicles with a Caring Touch, where compassion meets wisdom in every episode, dedicated to our beloved seniors and caregivers. Join us as we explore the heartwarming stories, experts' insights, and practical advice that make every moment with our elderly truly special. Get ready for insightful conversations, practical tips, and heartfelt moments that warm the heart and nourish the soul. Because here at A Caring Touch, we believe in laughter, learning, and love as essential ingredients to aging gracefully. So tune in, relax, let A Caring Touch be your guide to making every moment count. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Care Chronicles. I'm your host Avishka, and today we're talking about staying active as we get older. Staying active as we get older does get harder, doesn't it? Maybe your knees don't bend the way they used to, or maybe you're managing health problems or health problems of a loved one, and maybe things are slowing you down a little more, or maybe your loved one's slowing down a little more. And some days you just don't feel like it, or they just don't feel like it. So if that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Here's the truth. Staying active physically, mentally, socially is the foundation of the joy and independence and quality of life. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about some of the challenges and some of the solutions to these challenges and simple daily steps you can take so that you or someone that you love can stay active and thriving as they age. And by the end of this, I hope you'll be able to walk away with practical strategies that'll help you throughout your life. So let me share a story. There was a woman, we'll call her Miss Smith. She loved to knit, and it was her escape into her creativity, and it brought her joy. But as she got older, her arthritis started to set in, and her hands started to hurt too much. So it hurt to hold needles, and something that she loved to do so dearly started to become something that was painful. And this, led to her stopping knitting, and slowly other activities started to also slip away. So first the hobbies that she enjoyed, and then the small household activities that she was still taking care of. So eventually the things she had to do, the must-do items like cooking meals or even managing her day-to-day activities became difficult and almost impossible. So that's often how it happens. So little by little, activity will slip away, and along with it, your independence and your connection to people and to things. Think of an activity that you or a loved one that you have used to do but don't do anymore. So try to think of why they stopped doing that activity and how that might have impacted their life. Physically, if it's something that they were doing, physical activity keeps your muscles strong, your heart healthy, and it lowers risk of diseases. So diseases like diabetes, obesity, and heart disease. So if someone's physically restricted or not able to perform those activities anymore, things like muscle tone will decrease. So you need to find different ways to adapt and do things, keep working those muscles and strengthening muscles as much as you can, but understand that there are certain limitations or restrictions now. Let's talk about mental activities. So activities that are reading or puzzles or crafts. Those activities keep your brain sharp. They boost your memory, improves your focus, and this may even lower the risk of things like dementia. So mental activities are really important to keep your mind sharp. And let's move on to social activities. So social activities help you stay connected and help your loved ones stay connected. So these include things like sharing a meal or joining a group activity or volunteering with a group or even calling a friend. So those things increase your life expectancy in ways that improve the quality of your life and improve your self-worth and create meaning. So activity isn't optional, it's more like life-giving. So let's talk about daily living. There are two categories of daily activity that we often look at. They're called ADLs or IADLs. So ADLs are activities of daily living, and IADLs are instrumental activities of daily living. So ADLs are the essentials. So things you must do every day to live. Things like eating, dressing, bathing, walking, getting in and out of a chair. And ideals are the instrumental activities like things that keep your life running smoothly, like preparing meals, managing money, doing light housework, shopping, and even things like using the phone by yourself. So the key isn't to do everything for someone, it's to help them do as much as possible independently. So as daily activity or activity just starts to decline or decrease, or there's restrictions associated with it, start understanding that you're not necessarily overtaking something and doing it for your client or your loved one or who you're caring for. It's more of you're assisting them so they can still do that function independently and you're not taking that away from them. So you can do these things by, first starting to understand their preferences. How would they like to do certain things? Maybe they want to take a shower in the morning and not at night, things like that. Encourage their independence. So encourage them to do these activities by themselves, again, to the extent that they can. And make sure that the environment is safe. So make sure you're preparing the environment and keeping their safety in mind, making sure that, there's not furniture in new places that they're unaware of that they might run into because it's unfamiliar. And certain activities you might have to teach them step by step if it's something new. And just be patient and involve family support. If it's not a family member you're caring for, even if it's a family member you're caring for, get more of your family to support and go in on the activity that you're doing. Have your family support to encourage the independence and understand the preferences. So let's go into another story. There is once a client who loved cooking. Lifting heavy pots started to become too much. And instead of taking away the kitchen, what this organization did was they reorganized the kitchen. So they swapped the heavy cookware for lighter pans, lowered frequently used items so that it's easier to reach versus having to, step on a stool or reach higher and stretch something or break something. And also gave this client tools to make cooking easier. So suddenly she was back in her kitchen, smiling, proud, independent. And, this is what activity is all about. It's not about perfection, it's about giving that independence, giving those assistance, those resources so that your client, your loved one, your elderly person that you're caring for is able to still perform the activities and do the things they love. So now let's get practical. Here are some activities that promote independence and joy. So whenever we're talking about physical activity, you can do things like walking. You can do chair exercises. You don't necessarily have to go to a gym, lift heavy weights. You could have your elderly loved one dancing to their favorite music and doing things like water aerobics. Tai Chi is another very slow movement art form that is mindful and that can help elderly loved ones. And you can even do things like balloon volleyball. So it's not straining or as competitive, but you're still able to have fun. In terms of mental activities, things like reading, crossword puzzles, journaling, or simple crafts are great ideas. For social activities, sharing a meal is always a great opportunity to hear more stories and connect with your loved ones. And you can do things like playing games, joining a group. I mentioned a volunteering group. You can go volunteer with your church, with your community, whatever community you're associated with. You can also volunteer in community gardens and do things like that. Pick the level of activity that the person you're caring for or your loved one is able to do. So you can start by maybe incorporating something for 5 minutes a day and then maybe increasing it. So once they're able to do it for 5 minutes for a period of time, maybe for a few weeks, you can maybe start increasing it to 10 minutes. Just be mindful of the restrictions that they have. You can always challenge them to do a little more. And, at the advanced level, they could do a class or teach someone else or join a group that does whatever activity that they're into. So, given all of that, there's still going to be days where they just don't feel like it or you just don't feel like it. So, that's totally normal. And the secret is doing micro movements. So, have your elderly loved one or yourself, whenever you're watching TV, stretch while you're watching TV, stand during phone calls, take a couple of steps, pacing back and forth. That will give you a few steps if you're on the call and just talking to your loved ones. And you could also do things like taking a 5-minute walk. These little things do add up on those days that you're just not feeling like moving or your loved one's not feeling like they really want to do anything else. And sometimes it's all about the joy. We've had clients in the past who hated exercise, but when you turned on their favorite song, they light up and they start swaying and clapping, moving, dancing. Suddenly, exercise isn't a chore. It was fun. It's dancing. It's enjoying your favorite song. So find your version of that and find things that make movement irresistible. So the bottom line is when we give up activities, we give up part of our independence, part of our health, and part of our joy. So the good news is we can always start again and we can always start over. And if it's a loved one that's not wanting to do something that they used to do, you can always approach it where they do something new in 5-minute increments and see if they enjoy it. Do something different. You don't have to do everything, you just have to do one thing. And this week, I encourage you to pick a new activity, one new activity. Maybe it's a short walk that you can do with your elderly loved one, or maybe it's a crossword puzzle, or maybe it's just calling them and speaking to them, or having them call another loved one that they haven't spoken to in ages. Write that down and commit to it, and then let's celebrate that win. Thank you for spending this time with us. And if you found this episode helpful, please share with a friend or a caregiver who could use a little encouragement. And remember, staying active isn't just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. And until next time, stay strong, stay connected, and stay active. Thank you for joining us on this heartwarming journey with a caring touch. Be sure to check out our website and connect with us on social media for more stories, resources, and ways to get involved. We're excited for you to join us again in our next episode, where we'll continue to explore the beauty of aging with grace and compassion and dive deeper into topics that matter to our elderly community. Until then, stay connected, stay caring, and we'll talk to you again soon on the Care Chronicles with a Caring Touch.